When Michael Jackson took the stage, every move looked effortless, like something the world had never witnessed before. But that polished years of grueling practice, private sessions, and moments of raw trial and error that fans rarely got to see. Some of that footage eventually leaked out. Here's a countdown to the rare rehearsal clips that show the man behind the magic. Long before his solo career took off, a young Michael Jackson was sweating it out in a cramped rehearsal space, learning the jazz-heavy choreography for his role as the Scarecrow in The Wiz. Working alongside choreographer Louis Johnson, dressed in plain sweats, Michael practiced throwing his body off balance on purpose, only to snap back into total control a beat later. This wasn't just step learning. It was Michael figuring out how to make his body look otherworldly while still radiating emotion. It's often pointed to as a moment his stage presence really began to take shape. Circulating online are a handful of photos said to show Michael mid-rehearsal after injuring his leg during a demanding routine, supposedly pushing through the pain to finish anyway. Whether that story is fact or exaggeration is still debated by fans, and the truth behind the images remains murky. Inside a private rehearsal hall, the Jackson brothers were drilling tight group formations ahead of the Triumph tour. Even surrounded by his siblings, Michael stood apart, already experimenting with the sharp locking and popping style that would define his early 80s solo work. He kept stopping the run-through to fix small spacing errors, an early sign of the perfectionist director he'd soon become. Fast, aggressive, and precise, his movements hinted at the solo superstar waiting just around the corner. Inside a dim LA studio, Michael worked closely with choreographer Michael Peters to invent an entirely new kind of dance vocabulary for Thriller. Surrounded by dancers auditioning for the video, he wasn't simply memorizing steps. He was inventing a physical language that made rotting, lurching movement look rhythmic and alive. This rougher, unpolished version of the now iconic zombie walk and shoulder shrugs shows a creative mind working out one of the most influential routines in pop history in real time. Perhaps the most treasured footage of them all, a grainy home video showing Michael completely by himself in his family's home studio, working out the routine that would change music forever. Preparing for the Motown 25 special, he practiced a solo to Billie Jean, repeating the backward slide that would soon be known worldwide as a Moonwalk. No lights, no crowd, no glittering glove, just him adjusting his weight and fine-tuning the timing of his heel drops until the illusion became seamless. Filmed from the back of an empty arena, this clip captures a tense, focused technical rehearsal ahead of the Victory Tour. In casual clothes and knee pads, Michael tested the traction of the massive stage while working on his signature spin into a toe stand. The raw audio catches him shouting adjustments to the lighting and sound crew mid-spin, a rare glimpse of the meticulous craftsman treating an entire stadium like his personal lab, making sure even a split-second move would land with the fans in the very last row. On the tightly guarded set of Disney's Captain EO, Michael rehearsed his choreography while wearing a bulky prototype of his character's spacesuit. Designing movement for a 3D film meant rethinking depth and spacing entirely, and Michael adapted his usual popping style to work within the suit's restricted weight, all while keeping his execution sharp. Footage shows him working with director Francis Ford Coppola to angle his hand isolations for maximum impact on camera, proving he could dance through almost any physical limitation. The bad era brought a grittier, street-inspired Michael, and this rehearsal footage shows exactly how that transformation happened. Working with choreographer Jeffrey Daniel in a mirrored studio, Michael built out the aggressive choreography for the subway face-off scene. Stripped of his signature buckled jacket, he focused on weight distribution and sudden stops, rehearsing rapid spins and dramatic jacket-pulling motions until every gesture radiated attitude. This clip zooms in on the group choreography for The Way You Make Me Feel, with Michael drilling his backup dancers on the famous shadowing sequence. The entire session revolved around precision, Michael obsessing over getting everyone's feet sliding forward at the exact same instant, with no elaborate set or costumes to distract. The pure geometry of the choreography took center stage, and Michael's eyes never left the mirror as he checked the group's alignment. A holy grail for serious fans. Footage of the earliest tests for the legendary 45-degree anti-gravity lean in Smooth Criminal. Before the special shoes and floor pegs were finalized, Michael had to physically figure out how
to safely shift his center of gravity. Hooked into an early prototype harness, he leaned slowly forward, testing his balance with total concentration, at one point discussing the strain on his ankles and calves with the engineers. It's a rare behind-the-curtain look at just how much physical risk and precision engineering went into one of live entertainment's most famous illusions. In a freezing, empty Tokyo stadium, Michael ran a quiet daytime soundcheck bundled up in a heavy sweatshirt and his trademark fedora. With no audience and no spectacle, he used the empty stage to test the floor's slickness while working through the footwork for Rock With You. There's a calm, almost meditative quality to the clip, just an artist alone with his craft, gliding and stopping with effortless precision. A short but intimate clip from backstage during the US leg of the Bad Tour shows Michael's private pre-show ritual. In a plain undershirt, warming up on a small sheet of plywood, he moves entirely to his own internal rhythm, no music playing, snapping through spins and locking into sharp poses. It's a glimpse of the intense mental and physical preparation that happened just before he stepped out in front of tens of thousands of fans. An unusual one. Footage from a motion capture and measurement session for Michael's wax figure. Standing in a stark, brightly lit room, he held some of his most iconic poses completely still for minutes at a time so an artist could capture his exact proportions. Even frozen, his presence comes through, showing just how much physical control and discipline went into keeping the explosive energy of a live pose intact while standing perfectly still. For the groundbreaking black or white video, Michael flipped the script and became the student. This rehearsal footage shows him studying traditional dance forms, including Native American hoop dancing and classical Indian Odissi steps, with the goal of blending them into his own pop vocabulary. He approached it with visible curiosity and humility, laughing off missteps and repeating movements until he got them right. A chaotic but revealing rehearsal for Will You Be There shows Michael directing a massive ensemble of choir members and dancers with total command. He kept pausing the music to adjust hand placements, pacing, and emotional delivery, coaching performers on how to convey a sense of hope and drama. It's a clear window into Michael as the architect behind his own live spectacles. In a quiet mirrored studio, Michael worked with choreographers Travis Payne and Lavelle Smith Jr. to lay out the very first version of the Dangerous choreography, a sharper, more mechanical, almost military style unlike anything he'd done before. The trio worked mostly in silence, debating the precise micro-movements behind the now-famous tie snap routine. Inside an empty rose bowl, Michael rehearsed the halftime show that would redefine the format forever, and this clip focuses on something surprising: stillness. He stood completely frozen on a central platform for 90 seconds, testing how a silhouette would read from the farthest seats in the stadium. It's proof that Michael understood stillness could hit just as hard as an explosive routine when the timing was right. Shot tight on just his legs and feet, this clip captures the blistering heel-toe shuffles Michael developed for Jam. With his upper body and expressions out of frame, the sheer speed and precision of his footwork take over, every weight shift and freeze landing with mathematical accuracy. Considered by many hardcore fans to be the greatest rehearsal footage ever captured, this clip shows Michael running an intensely fast, aggressive version of the Smooth Criminal routine ahead of his MTV Video Music Awards medley. Free from broadcast pressure, he let loose completely. His chemistry with his dancers razor-sharp, his energy arguably even more explosive than what aired on TV. On the stark white spaceship set built for the most expensive music video ever made, Michael and sister Janet Jackson rehearsed their mirror duet in casual workout gear. Their natural sibling chemistry shines through as they match each other's sharp, synchronized movements, trading smiles between takes while pushing each other to keep up. For his short film Ghosts, Michael worked out an unsettling routine meant to simulate his bones moving independently of his body. Relying purely on his own muscle isolation, long before digital effects were layered in, he used his ribs, hips, and neck to build a genuinely eerie, almost supernatural illusion. During choreography workshops for the same Ghosts project, Michael experimented with a completely different, looser hip-hop-inspired routine for Too Bad that never made the final cut. It's a fascinating reminder that, even at the height of his fame, he kept testing and discarding ideas in search of the perfect fit.